she was kind and considerate and loving and was amazing. I was very blessed to get to be her mom. Her headstone has a quote on the back that says, "Though she be but little, she is fierce." And she was. She might not have been forward, but man, when she decided on something, she kind of did dig in a little bit about things. And from her youngest moments, she really did not have a lot of fear about heights or anything. When she made up her mind to do something, she really did go for it. She was a good friend. She was a best friend to a lot of people. And I have a lot of stories of folks that have come to me saying that Abby stuck up for them when nobody else would. My girl had a good character to her. She would have done big things.
In our next chapter, we'll get to know Libby a little bit.
Part 3, 30 seconds later.
The night before, we thought, they'll show up. They're at a friend's house. They didn't call in. Who knows? Next day's a little bit different.
So it's been an absolutely sleepless night for these families. Some of them went home to try to get a few hours of sleep. Others stayed out at the scene to continue searching, but nobody got any rest that night.
No, and we've seen enough missing children stories, and you always hear parents talk about when the sun goes down and going to sleep not knowing where your children are and how horrible that is. And so at this point in this story, you've got a number of people who are all feeling that way.
Absolutely.
And then, when you look at the timeline of this case, the search picks up again the next morning. But I remember looking at the timeline and talking to you about it and saying, why did they start at 10 a.m.? That's a little bit late.
Absolutely. And they didn't have much of a choice. There was fog in the area. They had requested a helicopter from Indiana State Police. It couldn't even take off because of the weather conditions. So the official search delayed, but still there's people out there looking for these girls during that time. And that's when the fire chief gets a really important phone call from the police chief.
Got back in bed about 3:30, and I think it was 6 o'clock, 5:30, I don't know. Things were kind of fuzzy. My phone rang, and it was Chief Mullins, and he said, "Chief, we have about 300 volunteers coming to help search, and we're using your fire station as a command post." I came back in, started the day. I had a couple people from my work come in to do nothing but register volunteers. I know we were at 300. And then the people that freelance and don't check in. So we had people and people and people. Got a call from Tippecanoe County, offered up a mobile operations center. We brought it in and set it out at the bridge area so that we could more readily coordinate people in that area. And we covered everything that we had covered the night before, but we covered it in the daylight and we covered it with twice as many people.
Here's Kelsey again, Libby's sister.
The next morning, we all got up, me and my grandma got up and left about 7:30-ish, and everybody met at the fire station, and the fire department separated us into groups. And my family actually all got separated, so my grandma and Aunt Tara were in one group, and I was in a group with my dad and my other sister and a few other people. And my group got sent to High Bridge.
Todd Ladd is the pastor at Delphi United Methodist Church, and Mike and Becky Patty are part of his congregation. He'd seen Libby just days before.
I contacted the sheriff who attends our church and just said, "Where do you want me?" He asked me to come down to the command center. So my role at the command center was basically to talk with people as they came in, as they volunteered. I signed in a volunteer, of course, but more to just be connecting, listening, talking to first responders, looking at maps, wondering, even spent about an hour with another clergy friend who went and searched a section of the creek in behind some houses, just going over areas that had been checked, but wanted to check once again. Many, many people were wanting to come out, even from communities nearby, the Logansport, the Frankfurt, the Monticellos as well. But, of course, you saw a lot of people that you know because you know many people in this community.
So is your mood on Tuesday morning different than it was Monday night when you were out at the scene?
Mood Tuesday morning is like something's not right.
Pastor Todd's concerns are growing, and the search is reaching its peak.
So we had helicopters up. They were searching the creek. We had kayakers on the creek because some of those areas you're not going to see except for from the water. So the terrain is rough when you get off of the trail system. It's wilderness for this area. If it's not a cornfield, it's a creek bed. So even on foot in the daytime, it was tough to search.
The search continued to turn up nothing, and Sheriff Tobe Lesenby, who's a veteran cop, felt this thing shifting.
Obviously, as time continued to go along, I again had that thought in my mind about, okay, this isn't like majority of what we end up with in this county, being able to find individuals. Yeah, at some point I thought, okay, I'm not real sure about this one.
Kelsey was in a search party at the bridge when the first sign of the girls was found a quarter mile away.
We heard somebody yell up the hill that they found a shoe, and at the moment I knew exactly what they were wearing. I couldn't remember what the sweatshirt was my sister was wearing until later, but I knew exactly what shoes they were wearing. And so they yelled up that there was a black Nike, and I knew it was Libby's. And then about 30 seconds later, somebody else said that they found them.
I'll never forget this part, unfortunately. I know Chief Steve Mullen and I believe the Delphi Mayor Shane Evans, Fire Chief Sterritz, we were kind of in the back part of the fire department. And I remember, I believe it was Chief Mullen got a call, said we've located them, and they're no longer with us.
It was the end no one wanted. The bodies of Abby and Libby are found in a culvert a quarter mile from the bridge. And now a search is becoming an investigation.
Because of the number of people, we wanted to get authorities to the site before we put out any blanket notice. So we kind of played coy to protect the people, to protect the scene, to protect the family. So we kind of went downstairs and played coy, and we were waiting to give notice. We wanted the family to not find out from anyone but authorities. Of course, then you start getting people, well, we heard this, we heard that. You've heard more than... Sometimes you have to lie to people to protect themselves. I'm sorry. You tell them, well, you've heard more than we know. And at some point, I believe it was Steve Mullins came down and said, well, we have the scene secured. Let's go ahead and let people know so we can terminate. Let's get people out of here. I made the announcement that the girls had been found, and it was not to a good end. And I thanked everybody that was there. I tried to be, you got to be that guy that when all else is troubling around, somebody has to keep it together. And as I'm making the announcement, the entire lot was full of people, and there's a stream of state trooper cars going by, and it's just surreal. I knew where they were going, and I knew what they were facing.
And what those state troopers were facing was a scene so disturbing, it would stay with them forever. It was something different, something new, the horror of which would shatter lives, haunt Delphi, and grab the attention of the world. Down the Hill is written and produced by Barbara McDonald, Dan Semitovich, and me, Andrew Iden, with original music and scoring by Shuvo Sir, and production support from Michael Dudley and Kayleen Chassie, our associate producers. If you want to see the people, places, and things we've been talking about, visit our website at downthehillpodcast.com. Sherry Seldes is HLN's Senior Production Manager. Brian Bell is HLN's Senior Director of Programming, and Tyler Moody is the Vice President of the Warner Media Podcast Network. And a special thanks to the people of Delphi and the members of law enforcement who are in charge of solving this crime. And of course, most important of all, a big thank you to you. We appreciate you listening.
This podcast is brought to you by Simply Safe Home Security. For a 60-day risk-free trial, visit simplysafe.com/DTH. Get the best security system and most comprehensive protection for your home. With the use of outdoor cameras, doorbells, and motion sensors, you'll see and be notified of anyone approaching your home. With 24/7 live surveillance by security professionals, Simply Safe also protects your home from fires, water damage, and carbon monoxide poisoning too. No contracts and no tools are needed for installation, and it's only 50 cents per day. Go to simplysafe.com/DTH today for free shipping and a 60-day risk-free trial. That's simplysafe.com/DTH, so they know we sent you. That's simplysafe.com/DTH.